Okay, so today we'll be covering shared mailbox migration topic from one tenant to another tenant, and this we use because of some company take over another company, and they want to if they want to migrate the shared mailboxes from uh, current tenant to new tenant. So hope you guys know that what is shared mailbox and uh, why do we use that, right? So shared mailbox. So the first method is for whenever we have what are the tenants? Tenants are something as a place on rent. Let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. So let's suppose some company here xyz.com, some companies here abc.com, and abc.com is a bigger company than xyz. So abc.com had some business taken over, or some kind of department been taken over by uh, uh, abc.com from xyz.com. So what they'll do, they will try to get all these tenant informations, all this mailbox migrate from this to abc.com. So first of all, we have to add xyz.com as a trusted domain under abc.com. And how do we do that? We go to our domain setting in Office 365, and we add them as an accepted domain of xyz.com as an accepted domain, so it can start trusting the domain. Also, you can go to the subscription setting on Azure, and you can create a trust, or you can create an AD trust. So that is something Active Directory team will help you. But for an exchange point of view, we need to have the prerequisite and understanding of this planning. So first we do pre-migration planning. We need to understand migration prerequisites. So I'll open the notepad, which I generally use for the class. So based on availability, we'll be mixing the topics, like sometimes we'll be covering Office 365, then we'll be covering cybersecurity, because we got a lot of votes for cybersecurity as well. So this also applies not only shared mailbox, it can also help into even normal mailbox migration as well. So first we need to understand the prerequisite. So the prerequisite means, like, you have to prepare the migrations. And why we are covering the migration topic? Because recently I have seen one of the critical case in one of my friends account. One of my friends, he we worked together to help this issue fixed. That they wanted the migration to be happen and it was not working properly. So that's how he called me and we fixed that issue. So this is what document I have prepared for tenant to tenant migration. So first we need to understand the pre-migration planning, like how we are going to migrate the shared mailbox. Then we have to understand the migration prerequisite. I'll share this document as well after this training. Then we need to understand pre-migration checklist and migration process step by step. Then post-migration verification and troubleshooting common issues and best practice and tips. So this is the main topic for the today. So pre-migration planning, we need to understand the migration scope, like how many migrations are there, who is the owner, what are the permissions of that shared mailbox to that people, how many people are involved, who will have access. So what are the key components to migrate? Mailbox content, like emails will be migrated, attachment will be migrated, calendar and item migrated, will be migrated. Folder structure, how many subfolders are created, what are the hierarchies, user permission, access rights, calendar and scheduling informations, email forwarding rules and auto replies, and distribution groups and membership. So these are the main components we will be migrating. But inbox rules, we will be not able to migrate because that's what on the mailbox Outlook level. And also, if any specific theme they have applied on the shared mailbox, that will not be migrated. Okay, so generally it takes 2 to 5 weeks. So we were already executing this project almost, you know, 2 3 weeks, and successfully after completion, I thought of covering this topic. So first we will do the assessment of the current resources, that what are all the shared mailbox, what are the permissions, and then we will do the environment setup, configure the required permissions, then the data migration, content transfer. For example, if Rahul is working on company ABC, that is the target, and he wants to migrate the mailboxes from xyz.com. So Rahul has to be have the appropriate permission on xyz.com. So first he will have to have the permission as a administrator on xyz.com. Second permission, he will be needing the if he is going to do the migration using e-discovery, then he will be having compliance manager, compliance admin permission on xyz.com side. And third will be if he is doing normal migration like PST export, then he has to has access on the server where he's going to export the PST from this and going to import the PST on abc.com. Okay. Then what are permission required? He needs to be have global administrator access on both the domains. He must have the exchange admin role, mailbox import and export role, SharePoint administrator access where the he is going to export the data, full mailbox permissions on the shared mailbox, on the uh, source and target both sides. Okay. Then we have target tenant requirement like global administrator, exchange administrator, appropriate mailbox license availability, SharePoint online site creation permission. So these are permissions he required. This is on source and this on target. Okay. If you have any question, if you're not understanding anything, or if it's something coming out of the box like you heard first time, please feel free to ask any doubt. Okay. So the tools we can use Exchange Admin Center, where we will be managing mailbox settings, and also we can use PowerShell, but it's easy to use if you use GUID version. Then you can use Migration Manager, which is also migration Microsoft tool. Then we have Azure Blob, that is a Microsoft tool, and Secure FTP, that is a third-party tool. Then Migration Replication Server, Then all that is also provided by Microsoft. If you have a dedicated server where you can run the dedicated commands and want to monitor, if you don't want to disturb that migration batch. Okay. Then pre-migration assessment, you have to assess the current mailbox size, how many mailboxes are there, and this also applies on normal mailboxes. In our project, we worked on shared mailbox, but this can apply on normal mailbox as well. Identify all the distribution list in the mailbox member of, then list of the delegation access, user and permissions required, document mail forwarding rules and auto replies, backup calendar and meeting information. So this is the assessment we need to do before we start the migrations. Okay. Then we have document custom forms, application integrations. We have Outlook forms and all. We need to export the mailbox reports, disaster recovery. If we have any mailbox access reports or permissions reports, we need to export them before we start the migration. Then review the documents, all the folder permissions. Let's suppose some of the folder being shared with somebody else and they do not have appropriate permissions. So post migrations, the permission will not work if you do not capture the required permission from the source. Then capture retention policies and compliance settings. Then we have environment preparations. So we need to verify the license in the target tenant. So why the license is required? We need to have to create a user on the target. So that also needs to we have license for the person who is going to migrate, and also the normal mailbox will be created as a shared mailbox, and depending on the size, each shared mailbox can be used up to 50 GB for free. If you need more, then you need a license. Then create shared target a mailbox in the destination tenant. So the destination tenant was abc.com in our scenario. So we will be creating a target shared mailbox from to where we want to migrate. Then configure mail routing and transport rules. So mail routing can be configured if suppose people are still sending emails on xyz.com. Then how does the email will go to abc.com? So we have to configure some kind of smart host to xyz.com. Smart host is something we can add the IP address of recipient server of our abc.com. So that is called smart host. Similar way, because this is only one way we want to send an email from xyz.com to abc.com. These two are the separate companies. So we will be only having one way of communication. We don't want anything to be sent from here to here. So we can configure this mail routing using the smart host. Then we can create the cross-tenant trust and federation, which I mentioned in my beginning, that cross-tenant trust needs to be configured in the Azure AD or on-premise AD, which network team can help you. Then we have to set up the hybrid connectivity if required. Like suppose if the on-premise server exists on the source, then you need to have the hybrid configurations, and you need to test the network connectivity by doing the ping command. Create service account in the both the tenants. So service accounts we mostly use for any kind of migration activities to make sure that nobody has access it, and the service account are more secured and password don't expire. So that's what the recommendation by Microsoft. Create firewall or proxy rule if it's needed. If any specific firewall rule are being configured that you should not be connecting to outside of the domain of the company, then you need to analyze these firewall rules with the networking team. Enable audit login in both the environment. So audit login is required, that who is doing the migration, what exactly happened during that migration, whether any data being misused or not. So audit needs to be enabled on those accounts who will be migrating. Okay. Then user and stakeholders communication. Notify all the mailbox users, schedule migration. Need define the maintenance window that we are going to do migration on weekend or weekdays. Prepare rollback process documentation. So that will go through the change process. In case any failover happens, then who will be. So then we'll prepare the rollback process in case migration fails. What is next? So that go will go through the change process. So in change process, we have to mention the failover and the rollback process. Then the brief support team on the known issues. We need to educate the help desk team for the upcoming known issues, like after migrating, what if the outlook is not working, what if the shared mailbox is not showing, what if the outlook gets started working slow. So these are the expected issue can come. So we need to train our help desk team to be ready for this kind of issues. So to do that also, we have a training dedication team, or L3 team can prepare some kind of known issue SOPs with the screenshots and can provide to the help desk team to be ready for and some kind of expected issues after migration. Okay. So create escalation contact and support procedures. So prepare FAQ documents for the end users. Escalation process. Let's suppose help desk team is not able to resolve something, and some shared mailboxes in accounting or billing shared mailbox very critical. They need immediate support. So generally, what happens? Help desk teams are most busy team, and they have back-to-back calls and tickets and chats. So they might busy with other task handling other customer issue. So in this case, the product project get impacted. It can impact the company cost as well. So make sure that escalation matrix being documented. What happens if the shared mailbox migration issue occurs or post migration? Then we have dedicated escalation team who can jump into and help them, especially the help desk team. Then we have a migration process. Export mailbox from the source tenant. So create a backup export to the complete mailbox. So launch Exchange Admin Center. We go to Exchange Admin Center and the source tenant from where we are going to migrate. Then we go to the mailbox and export mailbox. So I'll show you if I have that with me. So then we have navigate to the mailbox and export. Click on the new export request. Click on the shared mailbox. Select the shared mailbox which you want to export. Choose the export scope, all the content, configure encryption type. So this is the place where you set up the trust and before migration. Domains. So there you can add domain, the domain which you're going to migrate, directory sync errors, setups, health, security. I need to show the admin center. So if you want to encrypt in the mailbox data, then you need to choose the encryption key or the password if any specific requirement from the customer. But this kind of things you will get into SOP given by the company architectures and the client. So you go to mailboxes, and let's suppose this is active user mailbox, user shared mailbox. You go to this mailbox. Email forwarding, manage contact, manage mobile devices. permissions, mailbox, email forwarding, manage restriction size, mailbox policies, delivery restrictions, manage mailbox policies, others, recovery deleted items, custom settings, convert to the regular mailbox, litigation hold. There should not be any litigation hold. So litigation hold will be covering in our upcoming topics, but just for FYI, it's a kind of litigation means some legal issues. So if any legal things is involved in any of the user, let's suppose somebody is involved in a legal activity, so the legal team will inform the management, and management will ask to put the litigation hold on a shared mailbox or any user mailbox. By doing so, user will not be able to delete anything. Even if you delete, the data will be stored and it will not be deleted permanently. So that's how the litigation hold works. So there should be no litigation hold enabled. Okay. Then we have a monitor export process. It takes generally 4 to 24 hours based on the size, that how much the PST size. Download exported PST file to the secure location. That location can be the SharePoint site, and you download it and share that permission to the target server, target SharePoint. Verify the integration and size matches. Then we have this is we need to do on our source. Then we have step 2 to create a target mailbox. So same name we will create a go to the Exchange Admin Center, go to the recipient and create a new shared mailbox, and enter the mailbox name same as it is was on your source one. Set an email address, match source one, configure location and the time zone, assign appropriate Office web license. If the size of the source mailbox is more than 50 GB, wait for the mailbox provision to complete. It takes generally 10 to 15 minutes. Verify the mailbox and try to send in a test email whether this mailbox functionally properly or not. Then we have to configure the cross-tenant trust. So the verify the tenant federation is enabled or not. That you can get it check with the Azure AD team. They can help you to verify the trust. Execute the PowerShell command. This is the command we can check the trust whether enabled or not. Configure organization relationship in source and in the source tenant. So organization relationship means that it's a two separate organization. So we need to configure the trust between two. So that is what network team and the Azure AD team can help you to execute this. Execute new organization relationship name. Like when you go to the first time, it's first time, then you have to provide the target domain name and their details. Configure the repository relationship in the target tenant. Uh, so then we have test busy availability between tenants. So that free busy availability should be available. Let's suppose source tenant shared mailbox user is trying to book some meetings on a some user one at the rate xyz.com, and it has been migrated. So after migrating, the user is still here, so they are trying to book some meetings. So how, if this user is shared free with information being shared to the organization level, then only you'll be able to book the meeting or see the informations. Okay. Verify it can be accessed. And FreeBG also, as I covered in my last session, the CNAME record and this DNS records also supposed to be work properly to make the FreeBG works. Okay. So verify the mailbox can be accessed via both the tenants because the mailbox been created in both the tenants. Then migrate the content. Transfer all the mailbox content to the destination. In target, select the import data options. Choose the import source PST file or a mail forwarding, and then upload PST file to the Azure blob storage. So this can be your blob storage or your SharePoint, or if you have a dedicated server provided by the client. Create import mapping folder to the folders. Set execution files filter folder system, start migration batch process. Migration process through migration dashboards, migration error logs, retrieve failed items, perform delta sync to catch recent message and validate migration completion percentage. So delta sync is something we have three type of sync during the migration. Even if normal migrations, we have full sync, we have delta sync, and then we have initial sync. So the initial sync by the full sync runs whenever we have to sync the complete data first time, and initial sync keeps on running on every 30 minutes. By default, it will sync the data gradually in the background. And delta sync, which you, if you want to make any changes, then if you want to replicate the changes, if you want to see the changes into any attribute or anything into the user property, then you can run the delta sync using PowerShell, but you need to go to AD Connect for that. But this is the backend process runs during the migration. As a end users, nobody will come to know, and admin, you will not be able to come to know until any issue comes. Okay. Migration permissions and delegations. So you need to document all the delegate users from the source mailbox, the map source to the equivalent target users. Then in target tenant, open the shared mailbox property, add users with send as permissions. Like you have to match the same kind of configurations based on your source permissions, like whatever the delegation user had into source. So obviously, if you're migrating mailbox shared mailboxes, then you will be also migrating users. Why would user will stay? It happens generally when a small company is uh, acquired by a bigger company. In that case, you need this kind of migration projects. Okay. Then we have configure mail routing part. Then you need to review the MX record and mail routing configuration. So as I mentioned in my first or second class, so once the migration is complete, you need to configure the MX record. As I mentioned, our MX record has list of the address where the email will be routing. So let's suppose some companies from tcs.com, it's tried to send an email to xyz.com, user1 at xyz.com, but his mailbox is no more here now. His mailbox is here now. So how this mail will route? This mail routing will work. First of all, TCS port 25, when mail go exit, it will go to public DNS. Public DNS, it will ask that what exactly you're looking for. It will say .com, .org, .edu, what domain you're looking into, root domain. Then based on that, it will say we have 100 of domains with the .com. What exactly you're looking for? Then it will say I'm looking for xyz.com. Then it will check the MX record, but it will say that this MX record does not exist. So we have to update, we have to tell this public DNS that whoever comes asking xyz.com MX record. So MX record is a dedicated server address or dedicated the host address where the email should be receivable. So we have to update. I mean, xyz.com has to update their new MX record to public DNS. So whenever TCS or any Wipro or any Infosys is trying to send email to xyz.com, it gets the new MX record, which is the abc.com address. So email comes here, not here. Okay. So if the user tenant relay configure mail forwarding in source mailbox set automatically forwarding to the target, configure transport rules for mail routing. If you have any specific transport rule configured here for any dedicated conditions, like if the email comes from tcs.com should not be going through the filtering services. If the email comes from Wipro.com or Infosys.com, it should go to this smart host or something. If you have configured some kind of transport rule, then it will need to reconfigure to the target as well. Then you need to in source mailbox set automatically reply to the target. So in source mailbox you can set up a automatic reply, like if any emails comes, you kindly send start sending email to this address from now. Configure transport rules and action will separate MX record. This is all covered. Allow time, allow time for DNS propagations in 24 hours. So time resolutions means the network team will help you to configure this. So for example, in my one of the sessions I have shown you the type of MX record. For example, if I say tcs.com and I see its MX record, so it's a tool, free tool, MX toolbox, where you can see any record on the public. So if you see tcs.com MX record, then TCS has so many, almost 1 2 3 4 5 6 10 20 mail MX record. Bharti Airtel, Bharti Airtel, Bharti Airtel, Bharti Airtel, Bharti Tata Communication, TCS e-services. So this is how. So each of them preference is 10. So these preferences are like, if it's a 0, then it's highest priority. Then it's 10, then 20, then 30, then 40, then 50. So that's how the least number of preferences here, the least number of numbers, it will be higher priority. It's not like if it has a 20 number, then it will try to on the address where the number is 10 or less than 10. So it says 10 minutes, it's time to leave, TTL. So that's suppose it's a 10, then means 10 minutes it will keep trying for delivering the email on this IP address. This is the MX record, first priority. If after 10 minutes, if this IP is not resolvable, if its email is not getting delivered here, if this IP is not responding or not accepting the email, then it will go to this address 31. Then 10 minutes it will wait here. Then it will go to 97. So TCS has configured 10 addresses. Similarly, if you see Wipro.com, Wipro has configured just one, Microsoft Corporation. So Wipro has taken everything on Microsoft. Everything is on cloud. Here the TCS one, this is the Wipro. Similarly, you can see Infosys. They are also on cloud. So this time to leave generally recommended is 24 up to 24 hours, so we don't miss any emails. Then test email delivery from internal and external senders. So let's suppose after migrations, ABC users are able to send email to ABC users only, but somebody is trying to send email from TCS. So this email is able to also receiving or not, because if MX is not updated properly, or maybe any DNS record is properly not updated. So that's how it will needs to be. We will test before complete the project. Then monitor the delivery logs, any routing errors, update client configurations in Outlook, reconfigure the Outlook connections. Like in my previous sessions, I have covered the CNAME record and the DNS records session. So in that session, similarly, you have to tell the public DNS that this is our CNAME record now, and this is our DMARC record. This is our, so whatever the Outlook or XYZ was using the public records, that all needs to be changed. These all envelope needs to be changed to public DNS. That who will be doing? Our network team or the Azure team will be doing, but we have to provide these records to them. And we make sure that we validate them. Okay. So we need to reconfigure the mailbox connection, then update OA settings, bookmarks, configure mobile device for a new mailbox, test connections from the desktop applications, test from the mobile applications, test access from the mobile Outlook app, verify the calendar sharing, meeting access, test third-party applications, migrations. So these mobiles access and all depending on the company policy. Every company does not allow you to access the OA on mobile. They just allow application to be downloaded and configured through Intune. Okay. Then we have post migrations. So during post migration, what are the checklist? Verify the local items count matches source mailbox. Verify the mailbox size matches expected. So let's suppose user one has 27 GB of mailbox on the source, but after migration it has just 22 GB. The whole data did not get migrated. So you need to troubleshoot, you need to identify the bigger size of the attachment did not migrate, what exactly happened. Simple check, verify the random emails are present, verify the calendar items, meetings are intact, check content and distribution list, verify the domain structures and the hierarchy, check email retention and the compliance tags, verify the attachments present in the accessibility, sample operation 10-15 emails to verify the content, verify the mail rules and the auto replies. So there are 101 almost steps to complete till the validated checklist. Then user access and the functionality testing. All the delegation user can access the mailbox. Send as permission is working. Full access permission. User can read the emails. You can send the email. User can create or modify the calendar items. So these are the functionality tests you need to check on the post migrations. I'll share this document as well. Then prefer the health and monitoring. So post migration, you need to monitor the synchronization status, review message delivery and the compliance log, check for any failed mail delivery events, monitor the source and the message CPU uses. Let's suppose after migration, uh, the computer utilization is getting higher, the mailbox replication is not properly working, and the system is getting hanged. I've seen such scenarios where mailbox size was more than 100 GB and customers outlook got hanged after migration. So you need to be ready this kind of expected issues. Okay. Then we have troubleshooting common issues. What kind of common issue do you get? Like check PST files, run scan PST files. If you get any PST issues, for you can have this tool, a free tool for Microsoft Scan PST. You need to download on the computer where the issue occurs, and you can scan the PST whether PST got corrupted or what exactly the issue with that particular user only or multiple user. Review access logs in migration dashboard. You need to check if any errors during the migration dashboard. Then retrieve failed retry options if it's there available. I'm getting a call. Just hold on, guys. Hello from Best Buy. The Insta360. Yeah, sorry. Then we need to, these are the common errors which generally you face during after migrations, like check mailbox quota haven't been exceeded, verify the network connectivity, re-upload the PST file. Most of the times it happens the PST file got corrupted or the size is too much. Then we have a mailbox content missing after migration. Somebody report that the emails are not there, so you run the delta sync recoverable item folder, you check the deleted item, verify the conditions didn't execute, whether any transport rule being configured or an inbox rule being not properly configured. So that's how you expect and fix these common error after. Then you get permissions and access issues. Somebody say that I cannot access the mailbox. You need to check the permissions. You need to validate, reassign the permissions to the users. This kind of common issues you get. Okay. Then mail not receiving any new shared mailbox. Check whether the mail forwarding rule is configured properly or not. Test with the internal sender first. So these are the common issues you need to troubleshoot accordingly. Like I mentioned, verify that SPF, DKIM, DMARC records if for that particular domain, because that's not on a user level, that's a domain level. So if that kind of issues occurs or the application.
You're not audible, sir.
Okay, thank you. I was on another screen. I was on mute. Okay, guys, please do correct like this. Do not just keep sitting and waiting if I'm not audible. Because when I received a call, I put on mute and I came back. So yeah, I was talking about missing items and common issues, which you must have seen but could not hear me. So then you get access kind of issues. User complaint that I do not have access post migration. You check the permissions and as permissions, re-add the permissions, verify the users, not filter and by conditional access, check mailboxes on litigation hold or something. Then we have mail delivery issues. So in mail delivery issues, most of the issues occurs on the domain level, like SPF was not configured properly, DKM was not configured, DMARC was not configured properly. So these are the common issues you get because DMARC, DKM are not on end users level issues, right? Then we have best practices and recommendations. You have always perform a full backup before you start the migration. Schedule migration during off business hours, like Saturdays, Sundays, or late night on weekends. Document each steps. Take the screenshots before you click on next, so you can reconfigure the setting for a rollback. Review and clean up the data before migrations. Verify the significant storage quota and the target. Let's suppose you're targeting a shared mailbox migration of 100 GB of space, and the target SharePoint particular site where you are migrating that does not have sufficient space, then your migration will get failed, or without any error also you might face an issue, right? Somebody joined. Okay, then we have monitor migration process and dedicated team. As I mentioned, that we need to prepare a document of these kind of appropriate issues. Each issue can be prepared by an SOP and can be shared to the help desk team to remediate issue. There would be problem ticket needs to be created. Do you guys know what is the difference between problem ticket and an incident or a normal ticket? Anybody? If somebody have, yeah, Rahul, please.
Incident ticket is like a happening in sudden,
And problem
and
ticket?
request ticket. Sorry,
No, problem ticket.
problem ticket. I don't know, sir.
Okay, that is,
Problem ticket,
yes,
yeah.
sir. Go ahead, please.
Problem ticket can be referred as a P1, P2 at the time of P1, P2, right?
Okay, anybody else? Both are incorrect. I mean, obviously, uh, most of the people don't know this. That's the reason I pointed here, I stopped here and I asked the question. So, problem ticket is something which is being created for repeated issues. Let's suppose somebody is not able to access the mailbox frequently. His permission is getting removed automatically, or some common issues which coming again and again. For that, the incident management team will create a problem ticket and assign to the dedicated team to have a permanent solution on that. So for repeated issues, we create a problem ticket. Okay, an incident tickets are in the normal common issues tickets. And does anybody know what is the difference between P1 P2 as well? Since Subham mentioned it's a P1 P2, what is the difference between P1 P2? Okay, P1 and P2, most of the people have the concepts of saying that P1 P2 are the critical issues, P1 P2 and the critical issues. The major difference in between P1 P2, which most of the IT industry guys they don't know, most of them, because nobody has told them in this deeper. P1 is something when have multiple location get impacted, and P2 is something when multiple users get impacted. Understood, guys? This is also one of the interview question which I generally
Yes.
asked in my interviews, which I don't get an answer from 80% of the people. What they answer is all the time that it's a critical issue, something happened very critical, something VIP user. No. Whenever we have multiple users impacted, then we have P2. When we have multiple locations impacted, or in a business case or any business impacted, it can be P1 if it's a user only, but it can be P1 if it's a business impact cost to the
And
company.
P3 is like a particular user.
Yes, P3 are the common issues, like,
Yeah, thank you.
and this is the 80% of the people don't answer this question, so you are out of those 80 now. Okay.
Can we discuss about the impact?
Yes, we can see if you have more number of users impacted, what is the impact? More number of users. If you have multiple locations impacted, then is more impact. It's a common, like,
High, medium, and low. Like,
yeah, high, medium, low. High is even P2 is high. That is the common. That is the reason 80% people don't are not able to answer this
location.
question.
Yes.
High, medium, low is the priority, and P1, P2, P3 is the criticality,
Okay. Okay.
and problem tickets are uh, for repeated issues to fix a permanent solution on that, and we have incident management team to work on that. Okay.
Okay.
So then we have a keep detailed logs, keep rollback process. This is what we already discussed. Migration best practices. We just have 7 more minutes left, guys. So I'll just cover it up. Okay. Then maintain the source mailbox for the grace period for 2 to 4 weeks. So source mailbox, we should not decommission more mailboxes. We will monitor for 2 to 4 weeks, because if some issues happens, we can go back to the source mailbox. We can get the data from there. Even after routing get changed, the mail routing will happen to the target now, but still we need to identify this key where the issue is. Provide training to the users, document the validation from the planned process, keep PST backup for at least 90 days, provide training, set up the monitoring, review the audits, suspicious schedule, documentation. These are the self-explanation things which I will share. Okay. And then we have security and compliance. Ensure the encryption is encrypted. If you are working on a banking project, or this migration is for hospitals, then they always want this to be encrypted data. Apply any DLP policies for data prevention loss. DLP is also one of the component of security in Microsoft 365. It stands for data loss prevention. So that means it saves the data to be lost. Okay. Enable multi-factor authentications for the mailbox access. Configure advanced threat protections, ATP rules. Enable audits. Apply retention policies. Match, review and update the compliance tag configurations. Implement e-discovery hands-on for the requirement. So that's what the migration process I wanted to cover today. That's all for migrations. Do you have any question? Anybody? So I'll stop recording.